Hey, welcome back everyone to the brand new episode of the Code Drop, and today we're going to style forms using CSS. So we're going to start with input type of text, and then we'll move on to checkboxes, and then to switches, and so on. So first of all, let's open our folder in Visual Studio Code, and we're going to do that just now. So in the previous videos, we learned how to use pseudo classes and how to use transition property to style our elements. So we're going to use the similar technique and we're going to use the pseudo classes here again in this video to give some more stylish effects to our input type. So first of all, let's open our index file. And the first thing you want to do is you want to add an input of type text. So let's first of all, let's make a form tag here. And inside a form tag, we'll add an input tag. So input of type, it's going to be of text because we want to make a text field. So we don't need any property else of the type text here. We can actually add a placeholder here if you want. And the placeholder can be, so placeholder basically is the default text which should be displayed till the user clicks on the inputs. So let's say that the placeholder for our case is going to be text field. The one hit save and go live, you can see that we have our text field or our input which has text field as placeholder, and when we click on it and write something, that text field, the placeholder gets removed. So this is why we add a text. This is why we add a placeholder. It's just to tell the users what it's supposed to be, the input type, what it's supposed to be. So let's style this input type first. So let's go to our style tag, and here we're going to use input, and in square brackets we're going to write type equals to text. So when we do this, we tell the browser that we want to style the input which is of type text. So let's try to add some styles here and let's see if it works. So first of all, we want to add a width, and let's add a width of 150 pixels here, and then we want to add a height of, let's say 200, or actually 200 pixels is going to be too much, so let's add just 20 pixels. So you can see that there's this difference here and it's not really visible. So let's increase this these properties here, and you can see that now using this input type of text we can style our input field. So let's add some padding here. Let's add a padding of 2 pixels top and bottom, and 4 pixels sideways. Okay, and now you want to change the font size. So font size is going to be 16 pixels. So keep one thing in mind, that whenever you set a font size, it should be less than what the height of the element is. So if the height of an element is 25 pixels, in my case, it should not be, the font size should not be more than 25 pixels. So to be sure, we just keep it down by a margin so that the text doesn't overflows the input type of that text. So this is the basic style. Let's add a border for this. So we already have a border, but it's not a nice one. So let's add a border here, a border of 2 pixels, which is going to be solid, and the color is going to be gray. We have this border here, right? Okay, so this is the basic text field. So first of all, so now let's add a label for this text field. So we're going to be making a fully fledged, let's say, a contact form here. So the first field in our contact form is going to be name. Now label is a tag in itself, so we can style it regularly like we want to. So let's go with that here, and after that we have this. So in between the label and input, we want a BR, so we can have a break between these two. That will do. Now let's go back to our style tag, and now we'll style label. So first thing we want to do is the label should be bold. So let's set the font weight as 700. So font weight can be from 100 to 900, and 100 is lightest and 900 is the boldest. You can go on like that. So font weight, let's set it to 700, and then you want the font family to be Arial, Helvetica, and Calibri, and sans serif. So this is how you can style it. Now this is a label. We don't need anything else in label. We'll just increase the font size here. And font size, let's set it to 12 pixels. Okay, so keep in mind that the label should not be much larger than the placeholder or the size of text you want to put in the text field or the input. It should be less than that, not more than that, because it does not look good when you increase it more than the size of the input, right? So let's move on and let's add one more input here. So before that, we'll add a few breaks and 2 breaks to be exact. Now you want phone number. So we'll say contact and type is going to be number. Placeholder is going to be phone number, and we'll change the placeholder for this one also, and we're going to say name. So you can see that the second input of type number is not styled, and if you want to style it in the same way as the name, we'll go back to a style tag, and here after input type text where the bracket ends, we'll add a comma, and then we'll write again input of type equals number. So when we do this, our second input field also gets stylized as the first input just by adding this attribute. Now let's add a text field here for the message we want to add. So let's add, first of all, let's add a label. So label is going to be message, and now we'll add a text area, and the text area is going to be, we'll have to style this text area now. For the text area, for that we'll add a text area attribute here, and now we'll style it. So let's set the width as same as the inputs, so it is going to be 250 pixels, and after this we'll add a height which can be more than that, and let's add a height of 300 pixels. Well, it's actually a lot more, so let's set it to 200 pixels. Now it's still more than what it should be, so let's set 200 pixels. Yeah, now the message is good. So we're going to go with that, and we'll copy the rest things from here only. We won't be writing that again. So the padding is going to be 2 pixels and 4 pixels. The border is going to be 2 pixels solid gray, and the height is going to be 100 pixels. All right. Now let's save it, and you can see that we have our form complete. Now what we want to do is we want to add 2 BRs here, and after that we want to add a submit button. So to add and submit button, we're going to go with input, and the type is going to be submit. So you can see that the default text for the button is submit, but you can change it using the attribute called value. So if we add value here and we see contact us, so let's say just click to send, you can see that the message changes to send from submit. So using value property, we can choose the custom font, the custom text you want to add in the submit button. So this is how you do that. Now let's style the button also. So again, we'll add an input of type. This time it's going to be submit. I'm going to style that. So first of all, we want to remove the borders. We don't want borders around the button. So border is going to be none, or actually let's style it a little bit. Let's go for a 1 pixel border. 1 pixel solid black. So this is going to be our border. Now what we're going to do is we want to add some padding to it. The padding is going to be 4 pixels top and 10 pixels sideways. Okay, and now let's add a background color to this. Background of CCC, and text color of white. Well, it's not actually looking good, so let's decrease the, now this is looking much better. Let's add a width to our border and a height to it. So let's add a width of 100 pixels not more than that, and a height of, let's add 20 pixels here. Okay, 20 pixels is too less, so let's make it 30 pixels, and we'll add a font size of 16 pixels. There we go. So we have styled our submit button now. Now this is the basic contact form. Let's just add a heading here, which will say contact form. Okay, here we go. And we'll use an inline style just to set its font family to something else. So we'll add a style property here, and we can say form font family, and it's going to be Arial, Helvetica, Sans serif. So the font has changed now. But this is the basic style. We can go with the contact form. Now let's add some pseudo classes to the mix. Now first of all, we want to do is we want to add an hover class to our input fields. So what this means is that when a user clicks on the input fields or hovers the mouse over the input fields, the style should change. So let's head back to our style tag here. And what we're going to do is we'll just change the color of the border to make it look more appealing to the audience. So let's add, so we'll just copy this from here, and we'll add the hover pseudo class down here. Now let's do that. Hover and hover. So this is the pseudo class we use to make the hover pseudo class. So let's change the border. So the border previously is 2 pixels solid gray. So let's change it to 2 pixels solid red. So now when I hover the mouse over the input field, the color of the input field changes to red. Now you can see that in action here. Red, right? Now what we're going to do is we want to do next is that whenever the user clicks on the input field, let's change the border from solid to a dashed border. Now to do that, we'll just copy this again from here, and we'll change hover to focus. So let's do that here too. So this will be focus now, and when the input gets focused, it's going to be dashed. So now I can see that it's hover now, and when I click on it, you can see that the border has become dashed. So you can use different effects for that. So let's change this to somewhat more special. So let's make it solid only. So let's leave it solid, and the background becomes dark in color. So when you click on the input field, it becomes darker. You can see what's happening. So the thing is that the font color is not visible at all because the font color is also dark. So what we'll do is we'll add color also here, and it's going to be FFF, so it's white. Now when I hover it, the border becomes dashed, and the background becomes dark, and the font color becomes white. So this is how you can add interesting effects using CSS to your contact form. Now let's make something like this for our input type of submit also. So when we hover over our submit button, what should happen is that the border should come up and this background should become lighter. So what we're going to do is we'll set an opacity of 0.8. So this is going to make the color lighter, and we'll add a border of 2 pixels solid, and the border is going to be, let's add red color only. So when we hover mouse over it, you can see that the button is becoming lighter, and there's a border of red color all around it. Now this is hover. Let's add a focus class also. So let's go to focus, and we'll shift the opacity back to 1. We'll change the color now to black, and what we're going to do is we'll set the background now as red and the color as white. So now when we click on the button gets focused, the background will become red, the border will become black, and the color will be white. So it's going to be inverted all around it. So let's click on it, and you can see that when you click on it, it becomes red in color. So this is how you style your input style using the pseudo classes over in focus, and it's a really good way to make forms. So the forms when you make like this, they look really good. So you might have actually seen a new type of form in which there's only border at the bottom and label is below the border. So we're going to try to make that also here. Now first of all, let's go to our HTML part, and what we're going to do is we'll shift the label from top to bottom. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just pasting the label from above of the input tag now to below the input tag. Let's do this for this also. Here we go. And now you can see that we have all of this just below of our input tag. Now we'll go back to top, and what we're going to do is we'll just change the border property from border to border bottom. And after this, we'll say border equals none. So border equals none should come before border bottom. Now this is the way we go, and you can see that the padding is not enough, so we'll add some more padding here. Let's say 10 pixels, and this is how you do this. Now what we want to do is we want to change the font size of our labels. So we'll set it to a much lower value, so it's just barely visible. And what we're going to do is next is that we'll remove the placeholders. Okay, now we have got rid of the placeholders, and in Textarea we don't need to do that, because if we remove all the borders from Textarea, it's not going to look good. So let's leave it like that only. The Textarea is safe from us for now. Now let's get back to our input hole property, and you can see that we have a border property still there. So what we'll do is we'll set it to border bottom now, and here also we'll set it to border bottom. So the same properties will be carried on from that point now to this point. So this is how your form looks when you try and manipulate it like this. Now this was the basic form manipulation, and this was just the input types and the text area and the submit button. Now this was the end of this video, and we'll be continuing with forms in the next video, because there are many other elements we want to style, and let's do that in the next video. Thumbs up if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel if you loved it. I'll see you on the next episode of the Code Drop. Bye for now.